the court case that allowed them to meet during this period, because they had initially not been scheduled to meet during this period. But thanks to Speaker Becker, President Garcia, they were, and of course Attorney General Weiser and others, they were able to make sure that they were here in this critical point of time to respond to the real life issues that Coloradans are facing with regards to COVID. And that means things like help paying your rent. It means help paying your utility bills. It means making sure that there's resources for behavioral health, all the difficulties that people face from not being able to see their loved ones as much, and in some cases losing their jobs. Support for food pantry assistance. Support for small businesses. So many other great programs. We're going to talk about them each briefly. We have a number of the terrific sponsors here today that are going to talk about each of the efforts. And I couldn't be more excited to be able to sign them into law, to have a comprehensive set of laws and bills and resources that are really going to help Coloradans get back to the Colorado we love. Of course, the more that we wear masks, the sooner we can do that. Masks are really the ticket to the Colorado we love. We want to be able to contain the virus here so that we have the freedom to enjoy our summers, our falls, so kids will be able to go back to school, and that we can save our small businesses. So with that, we'll start with the first bill.
I'm just going to say a few remarks. Thank you, Governor. With your the strong support of your office and with bipartisan support in the legislature, we put together a package of bills that really help Coloradans get back to work safely, keep a roof over their heads, keep the lights on, get the support that they need through this pandemic. And that's what this legislation symbolizes, is people coming together to really help each other. With this legislation, people can return to work safely, but they can also have assistance with rent, with heat, with mental health support, support for the surge in calls that we've had with 211 that is providing information on human services, making sure businesses can get back to work through loans and grants. And so I think it's a great package of bill, and I appreciate everyone collaborating on it so well.
Senate leadership.
Thank you for being here. I'll keep this incredibly brief because we have all 100 members of the legislature here to speak. This really is a collection of bills that maybe weren't on our agenda in January, but we quickly in March, when we left session and started working on what session in Colorado was going to look like when we came back, we quickly realized that we needed to sort of reset and pay attention to providing immediate relief for Colorado families, for small businesses, and really for our state and our economy as a whole. That work, all 10 weeks or so of Zoom calls and conference calls and a lot of conversations have led to several of these bills and more. And as the speaker said, they really are meant to provide direct assistance for the different challenges and struggles people are facing because of this crisis. At the heart of it, this started as a public health crisis. We realized, and we continue to realize, that it very quickly turned into an economic crisis, and it's affecting so many different people across the state, and that's what these bills largely are addressed with, providing relief around. But we also know that these bills aren't going to solve everybody's problems, nor was that necessarily the goal. The goal was to provide some immediate relief and begin to set the stage for how Colorado gets back on its feet. And so we know that this is just the beginning. There's a whole lot more work that we have to do to keep people in their homes, to keep people economically secure. And we all are looking forward to having those hard policy conversations and getting that work done in collaboration with the governor's office. So thank you, Governor, for inviting all of us here and for signing these bills.
Speaker Becker and Majority Leader Fenberg, thank you for your absolutely critical work in being able to help Colorado respond to this crisis. The first bill we're going to sign is incredibly important because it provides housing assistance. $19.6 million through DOLA to extend rental and mortgage relief efforts, and $350,000 to help legally defend against evictions. The sponsors, please join me. Selena Gonzalez Gutierrez, Tony Exum, Senator Gonzalez, Senator Zenzinger, and we'll turn it over to the senators. Or the representatives. Tony Exum? Okay. Well, I never know who goes first, House or Senate. I never know.
We don't know. Thank you, Governor. I appreciate it. The Housing Development Grant is an existing line item within the Division of Housing that has a long and successful track record of getting communities the resources they need as it pertains to housing. The division is also expanding its partnership across the state to work to implement these additional funds. And we're real appreciative because when people are in their houses and secure with their mortgages, it helps the economy. So thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Governor. My name is Serena Gonzalez Gutierrez. I represent House District 4, and I just want to thank you again and thank everyone that put in all the work to get this type of legislation passed for Coloradans that need to, fill in the gaps. There's around $20,000 that will be allocated through this piece of legislation. Going 20 million. Oh my goodness, I keep doing that. Everybody's like, wait a minute, that's not enough. $20 million. And of those funds will go towards rental assistance and mortgage assistance. And around $350,000 will go towards the eviction legal defense fund, which is crucial as we continue to face lots of concerns with people facing evictions, which is still a huge concern. And we do, hope that there are additional aids that can come towards for those people that are experiencing those kinds of issues, including, possibly extending things like eviction moratoriums. So, Governor, I thank you again, and I thank my co-prime sponsors.
If you're a renter and you are worried about what to do when your extended unemployment insurance benefits run out, know that there are $20 million available now to assist you. If you're a landlord and you're concerned about a renter who hasn't kept up with their payments, know that that $20 million is also available to you. And if you're a homeowner and you're worried about being able to make your mortgage payments, that's what this money is for. This money is meant to keep people housed. And we know that as the CARES federal dollars begin to expire, as some of the eviction moratoria begin to expire this summer, that's what this money is meant to do, is to keep people housed. And I'm very proud that we were able to allocate these precious dollars in a way that will keep people in their homes. Thank you.
Thank you, and we also want to thank Senator Zenzinger for her work on this as well. It's really exciting that the legislators were able to find an existing program so the money can go out the door really quickly through a very efficient DOLA program. If they were to try to create a different program, it would take a number of months to set it up and get it out. But the legislature recognized, along with the Department of Local Affairs, this money is needed right away to get out the door for renters, especially as the CARES Act unemployment rolls off. So we're going to make it law. Here we go. There we go. One more place to sign. And it is official. Congratulations. Congratulations, Tony. Oh, Robert, I'm sorry. I didn't see you.
Rachel's about efficiency.
I did get to thank you, Rachel. Rachel Zenzinger is with us, by the way. Absolutely. If we could be joined by Representative Kennedy, Representative Cutter, Senator Story, and Senator Zenzinger again. So, similar to housing assistance, another area that people need help is just paying for their basic utility service. People need to pay for the utilities to live in our state. Utility disconnections can hurt people's livelihood, they can hurt people's health, and that has been a real threat, especially from people who are experiencing loss of income or will experience loss of income when the CARES Act unemployment runs out in July. Now, many of the people that have lost their job may also be eligible for assistance through the State Low Income Energy Assistance Program, or LEAP, or Energy Outreach Colorado. And in addition, there's this $4.8 million towards energy outreach that'll go to direct heating, cooling, electricity payments for folks. So with that, Whichever of the sponsors would like to go first. Senator Story.
Thank you so much, Governor, for having us all here this morning to sign these really important bills that are receiving CARES funding. And this one in particular, the $5 million going towards utility payments, is so important for those who have been financially impacted due to this pandemic and will help people stay in their homes. So I'm delighted to be a sponsor on this bill. I'm Tammy Story and I represent Senate District 16, and I just want to thank you again, Governor, for allowing us to be here to do this really important signing.
Hi, I'm Lisa Cutter, and I represent House District 25. And I, first of all, just want to say thank you to the governor and all my colleagues in both houses or both bodies for the all coming together to do some really important things for Coloradans when we needed to. They turned around really quickly, as you've heard, and I'm really happy to be part of that effort. This bill in particular addresses just a really basic need. We do some very complicated policy and work really hard on bills for months and weeks, and these things came together quickly because they're basic and they're important, and that's really what Colorado needed, and I'm so proud that I was able to be part of an effort that rose to the challenge to do this. People have been staying home per the governor's request, and therefore utility bills have been going up, so I'm just really happy to be here and be sponsoring this. Thank you, Governor.
Okay, any other speakers on this one? Thank you to Representative Kennedy and Representative Cutter and Senator Story and Senator Zenziger for their work to help make sure that people have heating and electricity and cooling in their homes. It's extremely important. Congratulations. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Governor.
Representative and Senator, there
Thank
you
you
go.
so much.
Representative Snyder and Representative Rich and Senator Bridges, if you could join us for the collaborative on the 211 bill. 211 Colorado, it's a very easy number to remember. It's 211. That's right. It's trained bilingual professionals who are available for text or live chat in person to guide people through the services and assistance that they need. It's incredibly important. Big uptake in participation. This bill gives them the resources they need to help be able to serve the people of Colorado in a convenient way. Which of our sponsors would like to speak to it first here?
I guess I'll go first.
Okay, Representative Rich.
Thank you, Governor. I'm Janice Rich. I'm from House District 55, and that is the city of Grand Junction. So I've come a long way for this signing. The 211 call center, that is so important. One of the call centers is in Mesa County, where I'm from, and it has really served as a lifeline to Colorado and to all of the people that use that service. And when we first thought that this bill might not pass, and we, because it didn't happen right at the end, it happened at the beginning, and we thought, uh-oh. But we were able to get that funding, and I'm so proud that we're able to continue this service. So thank you.
Thank you, Governor. I'm Mark Snyder, House District 18 down in Manitou Springs, and as my co-sponsor in the House mentioned, this was an early bill that kind of had to sit for a while, but I knew as soon as the emergency hit, the emergency declaration, and the governor was so strategic and smart to put funding into 211 services, which have increased 195% or so during this pandemic crisis. So we're really proud of this bill. This ensures that they're fully funded through the end of the year. It's been a vital service to so many people where they just don't know where to turn, and it's a first step to finding the resources that they need. So thank you, Governor, and thank you, my co-sponsors.
Hi there, State Senator Jeff Bridges from Arapahoe County. Thank you, Governor, for signing this bill today. So we have tens of millions of dollars that have gone to things like rental assistance, utility assistance, and folks in Colorado may be wondering, well, how do I get access to that? One great way to get access to it is by calling 211. So this is sort of the piece of the puzzle today that helps connect folks to the resources that we have put into place to help folks stay in their homes, to help folks make sure that they have the funds they need to pay for their utilities. It's very difficult to stay safer at home if you don't have a home to stay safer in. So if you are struggling with rent, if you're struggling with your utilities, dial 211, get connected with the resources that can help you stay in your home.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. There you go. Congratulations. So we have Representative Kraft Tharp, Michelson Janae, and Senator Patterson and Fields. This is for the behavioral health effort, which is an allocation of CARES Act funding, $15.2 million, to really help Coloradans deal with all of the issues that are happening from a behavioral and psychological perspective. It's not just a public health emergency. It's not just an economic emergency. This is also a behavioral health emergency, and Colorado will be in a stronger place to help people that are going through difficult times because of this work.
Thank you.
Representative Kraft Tharp.
Thank you. I'm Tracy Kraft from House District 29. And my friend Amanda Kane, who's a peer specialist in the behavioral health organization, posted on Facebook, and I think she says this best. Working in mental health during COVID times is completely exhausting. I know that even when COVID goes away, we will feel the mental health consequences of COVID probably for years to come. I'm very excited and hopeful for this bill because we desperately need it. Thank you, Amanda.
Good morning. I am State Representative Daphna Michelson Janae from Adams County, and I too am very honored to be on this bill today. Behavioral health is sometimes split into mental health and substance use disorder treatment, but they're all one and the same. And it is very often that we try to actually argue for each other's money because there is so little of it. So I just want to point out that it's amazing that we have this bill today and that we have finally brought substance use disorder treatment and mental health treatment into one bill that is truly a behavioral health care package. COVID-19 may not make all of us physically ill, but every single one of us will have a mental health impact in one way or another from this disease. Whether it's losing your job, or for the first time in your life told you can't leave your house, or you have lost a loved one that you couldn't go be at the hospital with. This money was set in the way that we had guidance from the governor's office to existing programs to get out to the community fast. So if you are struggling because you've been locked in your house with your opioids and your alcohol or your firearm, now's the time to reach out for help, because we have the resources for you, and the governor is about to sign that into law. And I'm so honored to be a part of it.
Good morning. I'm State Senator Rhonda Fields, representing Senate District 29 in Arapahoe County in Aurora. First of all, I want to thank my colleagues who are standing behind me, and for the governor for not leaving people in the shadows because of this COVID-19 virus. This is a response to your pain, to the challenges that you face as it relates to housing, utility bills, health care. We're here to provide that kind of support. This bill that we're about ready to sign by the governor addresses behavioral and social behavioral health issues. I'm concerned about our children who have been not in school, and they're going to be returning back to school soon. So we need to be prepared for some of the challenges that they may face. That could be anxiety, that could be depression, that could be addiction, that could be suicide, that could be eating disorders. Who knows what kind of social and emotional mental health issues that our kids and our adults are dealing with. This is $15.2 million to get real resources in the hands of those who are struggling with behavioral health issues. So thank you, Governor, and my colleagues for not leaving people in the shadow as they deal with these complex issues as it relates to behavioral health.
Hi friends, my name is Brittany Pedersen. I represent part of Jefferson County, and I'm incredibly proud of this bill because unfortunately behavioral health needs are oftentimes overlooked. It's secondary on the list of things of importance, and we're seeing that across the nation. But in Colorado, we made sure to prioritize funding these supports. We know that we were already dealing with an opioid epidemic, the #1 cause of death for people under 50. That's probably not going to change even with COVID, and unfortunately it's made it worse. So what these dollars are going to do is help support our already struggling system to meet the needs in Colorado. We've seen with early data, it suggests that there's been a 50% increase in overdose deaths, and we've seen an increase in suicides. So this is a response to the people that are oftentimes left behind, as Senator Field said, and overlooked. So really want to thank our colleagues, our leadership in both chambers for prioritizing these dollars. It's incredibly an honor to carry this bill, and thank you.
And just a point, this bill is funded with CARES Act money, which means it doesn't align with the normal one-year fiscal year of the state. This is money for this calendar year, basically. So it will be used by December, which is one of the areas that the CARES Act is focused in. So it'll provide immediate help and relief. Also, there will be Coloradans, and there are Coloradans who it's more important than ever before that they stay at home. And that's people, if you've been contacted because you've been exposed to the virus, you then have an isolation period of 14 days. And we do that, and we make sure that we honor that so that we don't have to have community-wide stay-at-home situations. So it's very important that if a contact tracer reaches out to you, notifies you that you've been exposed to somebody who has the virus, that you isolate yourself, that you get tested, and that's the way that we can avoid these very difficult, from a behavioral health and psychological perspective, community-wide need to stay at home. There you go.
She said smile.
Smile a little bit. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Oh, is this a different one? Which one's this? This is the Food Pantry Assistance Program. Representative Esgar, Representative Cutter, Senator Zenzinger, and Senator Story. And this is, so many people have relied on our food banks and our food pantries during this crisis, and many of them have run out of inventory, or serving a lot more people and have to serve them more often. This assists local food pantries and food banks in getting food right from Colorado farmers and ranchers. So it really is a double win, and we'd be happy to have some of our sponsors tell us about the bill.
Good morning. I'm State Representative Danae Esgar from House District 46, which is Pueblo. Those of you who didn't know, from Pueblo. This bill is so important. It's a bill that we started talking about long before COVID even hit. The need to make sure that we are getting funding to these food pantries that work directly with our Colorado farmers and ranchers to make sure not only are we getting enough food in these food pantries for our communities, but connecting them with healthy food that's grown right here in Colorado. And when COVID hit, I don't think there's a single one of us in the legislature who didn't see an impact in one of our districts that had to do with people getting access to food. And that's what this funding specifically from the CARES Act is intended to do, is make sure we get funding directly into these food pantries sooner than later for the middle of this crisis, to make sure that people are having access to healthy, nutritional food grown right here in Colorado within their own local food pantries. So thank you, Governor, for signing this bill, and thank you to my sponsors as well for moving forward and pushing this bill through today.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm State Senator Rachel Zenzinger. I represent Senate District 19, which is Arvada and Westminster in Jefferson County. This was a bill idea that surfaced up through the Joint Budget Committee early on in the session, and we were very nervous that we weren't going to be able to move forward with it because of the fiscal impact of the coronavirus on our budget. When we were short $3.3 billion, we were very, very worried that we weren't going to be able to see this kind of policy to fruition. But thankfully, we were able to partner with other members of the legislature. Thankfully, we had a governor that cares about food assistance and making sure that people are fed, and that we were able to set aside a portion of the CARES Act dollars for this purpose. This bill is incredible because it leverages partnerships with nonprofit organizations, food pantries, for-profit organizations, local farmers, and your local government and state governments. It's an incredible partnership opportunity in order to make sure that people are fed, which is our most basic human need here on our planet. So I'm very pleased that we're going to be able to sign this bill into law today, and I'm very grateful to my co-sponsors and to the governor for signing it. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say that our food banks are doing a fabulous job, and our local food pantries are doing a really good job of trying to keep up with the demand, and they need help. And so I'm just really pleased. I want to give a shout out to them, and really pleased that we're able to provide the additional assistance that they need, and to my co-sponsors for working so hard to make sure this happened. No one should ever go to bed hungry, and when basic needs like this are met, then we can move on with the business of getting back to life and getting our economy turning again. So thank you again.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tammy Story, and I represent Senate District 16. It's the mountains of Jeffco, southern Boulder County, all of Gilpin, and the southwest quarter of Denver. And I, too, am honored, just as my colleagues are, to sponsor this bill that's so important for so many people in our districts and across the state who are suffering from food insecurity because of the negative financial impacts due to COVID-19. And I can share that I have been intimately involved with the Jefferson County nonprofits and food pantries who have done a weekly Zoom call, especially during the 10 weeks that we were in recess. And their needs are 3 to 6 times the number of participants and people seeking food assistance at this time compared to what used to be somewhat normal. So this additional funding and access to additional food from across the state of Colorado is really going to help those folks across our state. And I'm delighted to be a part of this bill, and want to thank all of our colleagues in both chambers for supporting it and for the governor's signing of it today. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor Polis.
Congratulations. Congratulations. So, I also want to give a little context for the CARES money. This was the piece that, and this, what we're talking about again, has to be spent by December. It's the money the state gets to spend. In addition, CARES money went out to other public entities, right? So counties, cities, school districts, community colleges, and colleges, which are other public entities, all of that which have a very difficult time meeting their budgets. The way that it was set up federally, only I think 5 or 6 cities or counties above a population level in our state of 500,000 got the money directly from the federal government. The rest was routed through the state, went out to them, and then again school districts through the end of the year and other entities. This is an incredibly important piece here that Speaker Becker and Senator Hansen worked very, very hard on. This is the CARE Subfund. It's $70 million of federal CARES Act funds, and it's really extremely important for the ongoing response to COVID, and we'll turn it over to Senator Hansen and Speaker Becker.
All right, thank you very much, Governor. Chris Hansen, represents Senate District 31 in Southeast Denver. The governor's exactly right. This was a very important piece of legislation that we put in place to make sure that that money was being spent efficiently and went to the people who needed it most. In this case, we directed any of the excess funds to help support the Unemployment Insurance Trust Fund. As we know, unemployment claims climbed very quickly. New records, in fact, not records we should be happy about, but because of the crisis, unemployment was a critical piece of the safety net in the state of Colorado. And so this additional money will help support that program, make sure we get back to solvency more quickly, make sure people get the benefits that they need, and that ultimately supports people being able to get through this crisis and get back on their feet quickly. So thank you, Governor, for making this law today.
And I think it's important in signing these, we also thank our federal delegation and we thank the United States Congress, because without their work, we wouldn't have been able to have done what we did here today. The cuts would have been more devastating. The additional support in these areas simply would not have been something the legislature could have even contemplated without our federal delegation. Almost all of them, Republicans and Democrats, with only one exception, all supporting this important work. And I think we all owe a debt of gratitude for our federal government for stepping up at a time when we know that not just Colorado, but every state in the United States needs it. And I'd like to renew my call on United States Congress. I'm sure I'm joined by many members of the legislature, if not all, on passing another assistance bill that will support the critical work on the front lines of states. The House passed a bill called the HEROES Act. It'll be in negotiations with the Senate for some kind of assistance on COVID response. And I know that just as we're showing that Colorado has managed the first round efficiently, effectively, in a bipartisan way, we can be confident that when there's another round, I'll be optimistic, when there is another round of support, Colorado will once again rise to the occasion and be able to make sure that those resources reach those who need them the most and really help us recover in a robust way from the COVID crisis. So again, I want to thank our leadership. In addition to Speaker Becker and Senator Fenberg who joined us, I want to thank Majority Leader Garnett and President Garcia. It really took the whole team, and many of these bills, the minority leadership and minority members were involved in as well. But it really took the entire legislature working together to do this in a way that was effective, efficient, reach those who need it, and showed that Colorado is a good governance state, that we can respond in a nimble way and make sure that resources actually can get out and reach those who need them the most. So thank you to our state legislature for this amazing work and making sure that we're able to help make a positive difference in the lives of Coloradans. Thank you. Really well done, everybody. I mean, this is so incredible. Nice. Efficient and effective. And Janice, thank you for Janice. I wanted to thank her. That's great. That's great. Thank you.